Do you feel like you set the building blocks and the foundation of your private practice, but you're wondering, how do I have consistent growth with my private practice? Great question. Hey there, I'm Katie Lemieux, and that is Kate Campbell, and we are co-owners of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. And this is Level Up, a series all about you as therapists, where we help you work with the clients you most love and build and grow your dream practice and your life. And we're going to be diving into today's question in just a second. Kate?
Yes, it's a really good question today, so I'm excited to dive in. But first, we want to say thank you to TherapyNotes for sponsoring this series and for being such a support to our Startup Nation community. If you're in need of an amazing EHR, definitely check them out. You can get your first 2 months for free. Just use code PPS as in the Private Practice Startup and go to therapynotes.com. Easy breezy.
Let's dive into today's topic. So today's topic is all about how to grow your private practice. So again, you've done the work to lay down the building blocks, you've got incorporated, you have your paperwork, you're checking all of that great stuff, and you might be having some success at seeing clients, but it's not all that consistent. And you're wondering, how do I make this a little bit more consistent, and how do I elevate my growth? Kate, where do you want to start out?
Well, assuming that you've already got that brand and that foundation from those startup phase aspects of the business that are so important to work on, this would be the next level to make sure that you really have that you're really able to grow and scale your business. So step number one is to get crystal clear with your ideal clients. So who are your ideal clients? What are they struggling with? What keeps them up at night? What are they, up typing into Google, wondering how to help my child who's diagnosed with ADHD, or how to stop myself from having a panic attack, or how to recover after an affair. Whatever it is that your clients are struggling with, you want to get super crystal clear on that. And think about the language that they're using in the therapy room with you. How are they describing their presenting problems to you? What are the specific keywords and phrases that they're using? Because the clients that you absolutely love to work with the most, the ones that just light you up and you feel like, oh, that was an amazing session when you're done, those are your ideal clients. So those are the clients you want to pay particular attention to and write down, actually take some notes and really get super clear on those pain points that they're struggling with, and not only the presenting problems and pain points, but also the needs, their wants, their desires, their dreams, their goals, the things that you help them to attain from your work together. So the results that they're really achieving in the therapeutic work that they're doing with you. You want to also be really crystal clear on what those words and key phrases are, because you're going to want to strategically use these words in your marketing messages. And if you don't know who your ideal clients are, you're going to be having marketing messages that fall flat and don't speak to anyone because you're trying to speak to the masses. And a lot of times there's some mindset issues that can be blocks that can get in the way. And if you need to do some mindset work on scarcity mindset or imposter syndrome or those types of things that can get in the way, definitely go back to previous episodes to listen because we've had some great episodes on that. So step number one, get super crystal clear on who your ideal clients are, what they're struggling with, what they're longing for, and how you help them get those things. Katie, what do you want to add?
I was just going to say that I know that sometimes people might be wondering and thinking, like, do I really need to have an ideal client? Yes. I'm going to say yes. Like, no, you don't have to, but I'm going to say yes, because the other piece that we don't talk about often is when you have an ideal client, your marketing becomes easier, right? So if you're marketing to it is. And if you're marketing the masses, if you're doing what I did back in the day, I did addiction and trauma and family work, like, where do I spend my time marketing? Where do I spend my marketing dollars? And it's all over the place, right? But if you do work in addictions and that's your ideal client, and you can even be niched in that, you know who to connect with. Then you start to connect with more people. They see you as the expert. You then know what to say on social media. And also too, it might be confusing for someone looking for addiction services then to see you also talking about helping moms with infertility. It's like, what's that? What? Like, that didn't make so much sense, right? So it's okay to have two ideal clients, but marketing is really important because everything really needs to be congruent. So just some food for thought there. The other thing too, and Kate and I talk about this a lot, especially in our e-course, is not only do you need to have a high converting, magnetically attracting website, your website needs to be relevant. So just some quick pieces, excuse me, just some quick pieces on a high converting website. Good SEO, knowing who your ideal client is, a homepage that's wireframed. That means this is how a client goes over your homepage and quickly looks at and assesses, A, is this the right therapist for me? And how do I get to the next thing? Your services pages, all services have their own page. You want to make sure it's Googleicious, have a great Google My Business, great images, all of that stuff. And then we recommend driving Google ads to it. But it's not enough for your website to just hang out in the space on the web. You want to make sure your website's relevant. So whether that's blogging, updating information, vlogging, that's all very important because Google actually ranks higher websites that are active. So staying relevant with your website is really important.
Yes, those are all really key aspects. And I just wanted to add an additional, just to highlight an area, because you talked about the importance of having your services pages, or we also like to call them specialty pages. That is so key because as you do the foundational work on your ideal clients, and you can have multiple ideal clients, you just have to be super clear who it is and how you serve them and how to present it all on your website and your marketing strategies so that it comes across in a way that's not confusing. For example, I am a group practice owner and we have over 30 clinicians on our team in multiple locations. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of specialty pages on our website because we have all of those specific services on the website. So we have done the foundational work to be super crystal clear about who our ideal clients are within those presenting problem areas. For example, for first responders, that specialty page, we worked through a whole ideal client exercise to make sure that we're using the correct language, that we're using the phrases and keywords that not only are going to speak to our ideal clients, that are also going to speak to Google. So whenever you're working on getting that clarity for your marketing strategy to really grow your practice and scale, and maybe even grow your team, that is the foundational work that is so key for you being able to really grow and scale. So you want to make sure that you have each one of those specialty pages based on that ideal client framework. I just wanted to add that little piece.
Important. And then the other thing too is mentoring, coaching, training, or working with experts. If you want to grow in any business, you cannot do everything. You are not an expert in everything. You should do what it is that you love. Why? Because you'll stay even more passionate. So we practice what we preach. We outsource a lot of things at the private practice startup. We outsource social media. We have an amazing assistant. SEO, we know enough about SEO, but we don't know the ins and outs. And quite frankly, I don't care too much. I just want to make sure that it's working. So whether it's getting coaching and training on a specific methodology, that's really important, especially if you're growing the foundation of your practice, because no one really could do that for you. But then hiring people, working with experts, and then the education never really stops.
Absolutely. And an additional aspect of what you really need to do to grow and scale your practice is to market based on your strengths and your natural talents. So you want to think about what is it that you absolutely love to do when it comes to talking with people about your practice or writing about your practice, or maybe it's doing videos, or maybe it's one-on-one networking. Maybe you're an introvert and you hate going to networking events or speaking at conferences, and you really love to do podcasts, or maybe you really love to do that, just meeting with another colleague for coffee, and it's those one-on-one connections that you have with people. You just want to think about, okay, what are my strengths and natural talents? What am I really good at? Maybe I'm really good at tech, and maybe I love building websites, and that's just something that I have as a skill, and awesome, run with it. If you know what you're doing, that's amazing. So you really want to think about marketing strategies that are built on your natural talents and strengths, because we don't want you to have to hate marketing. We want you to love marketing. Marketing can be fun. It can be playful. It can be energizing, as long as it's in alignment with what you're actually good at. So it's important to take that step back to really have the foundation set up with your amazing website, driving a lot of traffic there, and to think about, okay, what are the top 2 to 3 strengths that I have when it comes to marketing? What comes natural to me? What am I good at? And what do I want to continue to refine and to learn more about and do an even better job with, and focus on that? And then that kind of leads us into the next aspect to talk about, which is
But before we
really,
do that, let me just
go ahead.
add.
Okay.
So one of the things, and we get that there are marketing strategies that are much more longer term, right? And then like networking,
SEO.
SEO, but there's also strategies like Google Ads that can get you results quickly. But again, the foundation all has to be built. Kate and I built a lot of our practice on Google Ads, and definitely recommend that. So you have to also see where you are in your practice, what it is that you need and want, what's the time you can devote if you have to devote the time, and also what's the money. One of the things that we always say is having money saved towards marketing is essential. That's a mistake that therapists make a lot. So make sure you do that as well. So segueing into what we're talking about, if you really want to grow your practice, you need to track and measure, analyze, tweak, and refine. When we're talking about strategies, and Kate was talking about the natural strengths that you have, another common mistake that therapists make, and I've done this myself, is you want to do all of the strategies, but you're not doing them well, right? So that's why we say hone in on 2 to 4, outsource anything that you don't know, but create a clear plan. And this is why coaching and training is really important, is because you want to understand the exact methodology of how you're doing this marketing strategy and how it works, right? A lot of times we give up too soon because it's like, oh, this is not working. I remember when Facebook ads first came out, and I was like, oh, I'll do a Facebook ad as a therapist, threw money on it and said, oh, this is not working. Well, there's a lot that goes into Facebook ads, and Facebook ads also might not be the right strategy for therapists specifically. So you also have to know, does this strategy work for your client? So analyzing, tracking, measuring, analyzing, tweaking, and refining is an essential part of the process. And you can only do that if you're looking at data. So you have to find a way to capture data. I know Kate has a dashboard for her group practice, which is, it's like the headquarters, Grand Central Station.
I live by my dashboard. I can look at the health of my business for the group practice at any given moment. And all of the information is auto-populated, and it's in real time. And it's something that really allows me to track and measure, to know exactly what's working, to know what 20% is giving me the 80% of my results. And I can hone in and laser focus on that 20%. So it's really, really important to set up those systems to streamline. And that kind of leads us to our last item on the agenda here, which is really talking about systems. Create and streamline your systems. It is something that will save you a tremendous amount of time on the back end, and it will allow you to outsource and to delegate more to other people for stuff that you really don't need to be doing, that either A, is too time consuming, B, is boring and you hate it and you just want to do anything else. You'd rather go pick weeds in the lawn than like actually sit down and work on your bookkeeping or whatever it is. So it's really important for you to take the time to set up those systems for your business, and it will pay off big time. What do you want to add?
When you say that, I'm laughing because I'm like, like pulling out the towels in the closet and refolding them all perfectly, because that sounds like a way better thing to do than the other. Yeah, systems. I mean, this is really what makes your business really grow and allows you more of that time and freedom. And no doubt systems initially are a pain in the butt to create, because it's very time consuming. But once you have systems, and we speak from experience, sometimes our stuff is so systemized, I have to ask our assistant what I need to do. I forget sometimes. And that's a great system at work. It's stuff that really works behind the scenes effortlessly without you. So systems are really essential. And when you have them working, and the other thing too is you need to track, measure, analyze, and tweak your system. You have to see how the other person is using it, right? Because there's a lot of times that we think we're clear in our communication or our steps, or this is how you do this, and we're not. So you also have to see how people use your system so it's executed properly. Anyways, we could definitely go on about this topic. I'm so glad that Startup Nation asked about this topic, because it's a topic that we absolutely love to talk about. And obviously, everything that we share, we really hope that it helps you succeed more and more in business. Kate, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. I think we could do a whole nother podcast episode just on systems. So I think we'll come back and do that and surprise you guys with a whole systems packed episode sometime in the near future. But we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time. Stay inspired, everybody.
Take care, everybody.